What's going on, everybody? Big news coming out of Columbus, Ohio and the SWAC today, as The Ohio State University is set to take on an HBCU for just the second time in its storied football history, while another HBCU giant is making a first of its kind. We'll get to that in just a second, but please, guys, make sure you hit that like button. It helps out the algorithm and everything as we continue to get ready for the upcoming college football season and anticipation of seasons to follow. Speaking of, that is what news we got on Monday, as Ohio State University, The Ohio State University, is going to take on Grambling State University. Now, this game is set to take place in September of 2025, so we got a little bit of a year out. And actually what happened is UConn was scheduled to play Ohio State University. There was a change in that, and so this led to an opening. And now Grambling State will take on a Big Ten opponent for the first time in its history. Pretty big news within itself. Now, we didn't get the figures, or I haven't seen the figures yet as far as how much Grambling will get, but I did see that 1.9 million, so almost 2 million, was slated to go to UConn. So we'll see what Grambling State gets. I do know that in the previous matchup against Florida A&M back in, I believe it was 2014, that Ohio State paid around about $900,000. So, you know, if it hit that $1 million threshold, would not be surprised.
Tell them to bring me my money.
Yeah! You know, obviously, this is a matchup between a lot of different stacks there. You got the FBS, obviously Power 5, in the Big Ten versus an FCS, the SWAC. So there's that layer of it. But if you look at it, these two colleges, these two college football programs, definitely among the elites in college football. And I know Grambling, even though they're FCS, you know, you look at their resume, what they've done over the years, of course, they have earned that right as well. Actually, a couple weeks ago, we did a chat with ChatGPT, and they named Grambling State as the most iconic brand in HBCU football. And obviously, Ohio State is right up there with your Notre Dames, with your USCs, with your Michigans, and all of that. And so, as I noted earlier, this is going to be only the second time that Ohio State has taken on an HBCU. They played FAMU back in the pre-Willie Simmons days, and it got pretty ugly. It was a 76-0 win for the Buckeyes. So Grambling State will be hoping to do quite better than that. Grambling State just last year took on its one of its in-state FBS contemporaries in LSU. That wasn't quite pretty either, but you know, hey, they got the check, and it was a historic game. So this is another chance for them to get a historic game. Again, they do have a year for this to play out. But again, these are two powerhouse programs, you know, with national championships at their respective levels. Of course, Ohio State has multiple Heisman Trophy winners, including Eddie George, who's now at an HBCU over at Tennessee State University. And obviously, they have Coach Woody Hayes, who was, you know, one of the all-time great coaches. One of his contemporaries, Eddie Robinson, you know, the all-time leader in wins at the Division I level when he retired. And so this is going to be pretty interesting. And also, you know, both of them have, you know, several NFL stars. Doug Williams, of course, for Grambling State. And Ohio State, you know, obviously a long list for them there. And, you know, when the HBCUs, you always got to talk about the bands. You know, it's standing procedure in these type of contracts that the bands are contracted to show up. And so definitely you can probably expect to see the world-famed Tiger Band for Grambling State University, as they have, you know, an iconic brand, of course, of their own. But also, you got Ohio State's The Best Damn Band in the Land. That's their name. And they are famous for their elaborate halftimes. So we'll see what they come up with. Will we get a joint halftime? Not sure. I got a chance to witness one of those a couple years ago in person at the LSU Southern game, and it was definitely interesting. I know people have their different feelings about it. But I would say that this is a big W for Grambling in the fact that you get a money game against a high-profile opponent. You get a chance to take that Grambling brand up to Ohio. So the recruiting opportunity for them as well. You know, and then you just hope that you know compete well and see what happens. You know, they got a new coach this year in Mickey Joseph, so he'll have a year under his belt at Grambling, and we'll see what he can do. And it's pretty interesting. Again, you have Ohio State starting to play some HBCUs here and there. Not a lot, not heavy, but you also, just last year, we had Notre Dame taking on Tennessee State early on in their season for the first time ever playing an HBCU or an FCS program. So a lot of interesting connections here again, But again, these are two iconic schools, two iconic football brands, and both institutions have made significant cultural impacts in football programs and bands. And, both of these are football schools. Both of them have had success. And when it comes on basketball, of course, Grambling State just won the SWAC men's basketball title and won their first NCAA tournament game. So big shout out to them. But, Grambling is the football school and Ohio State is a football school. So it'll be interesting to see, how many tickets that Grambling gets, what percentage of the crowd will be there. But it's a big moment, potentially. We are a year out. Again, we'll see what the payment is going to be. Again, the payment for the game against UConn, according to FBS schedules, was supposed to be just under $2 million. So hopefully Grambling can get pretty close to that. Obviously they're not an FBS program, but there aren't many programs who have the brand that Grambling State does have. And of course, when they're going to a new place that has never experienced Grambling State, there's going to be a lot of interest there as well. So we'll see how it happens. Let us know in the comments what you think. I know a lot of you guys aren't in favor of money games anyway. Look, I get it. But so if you aren't in favor of money games, let us know that. I'm sure you will. If you are okay with money games, you're kind of okay with this, let us know what you think too. But we just want to keep the conversation and dialogue going. Again, we got a couple weeks before the Media Day season kicks off for HBCUs. So, hey, it's summertime. We got to get all the news that we can get. So I appreciate you guys for rocking with us. Again, appreciate everybody for hitting that thumbs up button and leaving a comment. And we will see you guys in the next video.